Our podcast is a part of the World Podcast Network, now with over 1,000 podcasts. Visit the World Podcast Network at worldpodcast.network to listen to podcasts in over 12 genres. Come vote our podcast episodes up and help us rise on the leaderboard. If you have a podcast of your own, you can join for free. Patreon, going strong. If you want to go over there and join in on the fun, we got 3 tiers on Canadian dollars. First tier is $3 a month, where you get these episodes ad free. You also get AMAs once a month, or Learn About Me episode once a month. And then on the second tier, which is $5 a month, you get everything from the first tier, as well as coverage of a reality show of yesteryear. That's right now Jersey Shore. We're currently in season 3. You can also go to the main feed, where there will be the first episode of every season released there, so you can try that before you head over to the Patreon. And then on the third tier, you get everything from the first 2 tiers, as well as coverage from a true crime documentary. We got the backlog of Ashley Madison documentary, Man of 1,000 Kids, Into the Fire, Lacey Peterson, and again, all those episodes for the first episode of each is in the main feed, so you can try that before you head over. So if you are interested, you can head over to patreon.com/realitea ×2, and you can sign up for whichever tier you feel for. Again, you can try before you buy, which basically means you can try any tier for a week before committing to it. Even if you are on if you are on tier 1 or the first tier and you want to go over to the second tier, you could still try that second tier for a week before committing to the upgrade. So again, that is at patreon.com/realitea ×2. And of course, the link is in the show notes, website, social media accounts. It's all available there. Welcome to Realitea ×2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and this is the first time that I am actually recording video. So, yeah, this will be exclusive to Patreon, at least for the first week, and then I will most likely put this up on YouTube, Spotify, or anything like that a week afterwards. So that will be there for everybody. I don't know if I will necessarily do this with every episode that I record, but you will at least get one, maybe, 1 or 2 every week. There's no rhyme or reason to what that will be, what episode that will be, or which show that will be. It's just, whatever comes into my mind at that time. I'll be like, okay, yeah, record video, and that's kind of what will happen. So I think the other thing too that I want to mention is I am getting to the point where I am doing Love is Blind UK. So what I'm thinking of doing, once I start with those episodes, which will maybe be in a few days to a week, you'll kind of expect that. But that will most likely be exclusive to Patreon, at least initially. I may do video for all of those episodes. We'll see. I'll kind of see how that goes. And then the audio anyways will be released, and maybe some of the videos will be released. We'll see kind of how that goes, because if I am doing all the videos for Love is Blind, not everyone is going to get released. So that's kind of where we're at with that. There'll be more to kind of come down the pike with the podcast, kind of more focused in the new year, and then from there. So there'll be more announcements where that's concerned. But yeah, anyways, that's kind of it. Again, we're in September, so in terms of Patreon, what you can kind of expect, which obviously, um, if you're listening to this on Patreon or watching this on Patreon, you wouldn't have heard the ad in the beginning of the episode. But of course, the true crime podcast, the true crime episode that will be coming in September is going to be the Zodiac one that they recently came out with on Netflix. So that will be coming on Patreon towards the middle of the month. And of course, the free audio will be available um, come towards the middle of the month as well, if you're interested in listening to that before hopping on to the episode. Anyway, just going to bring up my notes here, and we're going to be doing Hunt for Love. Pretty caught up right now with that. So I can't remember which episode this is because I did not write it down. But this is kind of the day with like Jay and everything kind of happens, which I did kind of already talk about in the um in the last episode that I did. So I won't be really talking much about that right now. So, but anyways, so yes, this date with Jay, um, you know, we kind of talked on it, like I said. Nothing else to really mention about this, but she does kind of say that she finds him way too forward. So I think that's kind of like part of the reason why it doesn't go anywhere. And to me, it kind of feels like he just wanted to latch on to a 90-dayer for whatever reason he may have had. And honestly, it just didn't feel genuine with him. But anyway, Tiffany sees Chantel and Rocky kind of after that, hugging for way too long, she says. And she says, yeah, I may be a little jealous, but like, I'm pretty confident that Carlo is my guy. Whew. I mean, the foreshadowing with this, because as we know, spoiler if you don't know, um, he ain't it. We'll get to that later. But then we're kind of like watching the I think that's some sort of party or something. And we see this woman. She's one of the randos. We see her, and I literally could not help myself. And I said, who the hell is Brittany? Who's Brittany? Where has she been the entire time? Um, Sometimes these randoms just come out the woodwork and are like, I haven't seen you at all up until like right before this point. Who's Brittany? Anyway, Carlo is like, yeah, like me and Elise, we're great friends. So like I could ask you on a date. This is what Carlo says to Elise. And, he's like, do you want to go on a date like as a friend? Just as a friend. And she says, nah, like maybe like we could hang out, but like I'm not gonna go on a date unless it's a for real date. So then he says, okay, let me go down on one knee, because she asked for that, and ask you out on a real date. And the thing is, it's like, we just a second ago heard Tiffany say, Carlo's her guy. Like, she's pretty confident. It's fine that Rocky's talking to Chantel. Like, Carlo's my guy. And then two twos, he's asking Elise out on a date. Like, what feels like pretty random, honestly. And I'm just like, where does this come from? why all of a sudden are you interested in Elise? Like, I mean, I don't want to go too far ahead here, but I'm very confused by the timeline of like when this happened, how this happened. I'm very confused. Anyway, this does happen though in front of Chantel. And like, I mean, I'm not saying Chantel has like this, she needs to go tell Tiffany. I don't think so. But I mean, you're supposed to be her friend. I mean, for me, if I know some guy that I'm interested in and, he's kind of playing the field, which again, this is what you're here for. But if I know that you're into him, we're getting to the end here, and he all of a sudden asking Lisa on a date, I would at least bring that to Tiffany's, like, bring that up to her and be like, hey, this is what happened. I just saw this. Like, I don't know. I'm not saying Chantel needs to do that though. I'm just saying. Anyway, then we start playing what we're now calling sexy bingo. And I wanted to barf in my mouth. It's basically just bingo with a twist. We'll kind of get into what the twist is once we kind of get there. Um, so you basically have to like take a number and whoever has that number, so like 069 or something, you have to kind of do, I guess what I'm saying is kind of like a dare, kind of in a sense. That's kind of what you have to do. Jen, when she gets a number, gets lick a crush's earlobe. So, like, clearly this is kind of like, okay, so who is she going to pick? Is she going to pick Rob or is she going to pick Cole? And then, like, is that going to piss off either one? Of course it will because they hate each other. So she ends up, I mean, I guess doing the sensible thing and licks a girl's earlobe, a fellow Latina, she says, who I've never seen before. Who is this person? I didn't even catch her name. She's just there. I'm like, what is happening? Anyway, Carlo strips and throws his shirt at Tiffany. So let's just break this one down. Because someone does say, like, oh, he's playing with fire. I think it was Chantel actually said it. He's playing with fire. So here's the thing. As mentioned, Tiffany says, Carlo's my guy. Then we see Carlo asking Elise out on a date, randomly, out of the blue. Then we see him strip, take the shirt, and doesn't throw it at Elise, but throws it at Tiffany. Oh my God. There's just so much that I can say on Carlo, which is nothing good. And some of it I really want to hold on to until we get to the tell all. But I'm just like, this guy is garbage. That's what I want to say. That's one of the things I'd like to say. Anyways, Rocky gets one that says massage somebody. Chantel offers herself up as tribute. And he gives her a massage. And like again, with Chantel, I feel like where did this come from? I said it before and I'll say it again. Jalapeno stick. I don't get it. I don't get why anyone finds him attractive. Maybe it's the porn stash for me where I'm just like, ugh. Like a 70s porn star. Um, so I don't know if that's maybe why I'm like, I don't particularly understand it. But then you see like the structure of his face, and yeah, he looks like jalapeno stick, jalapeno pepper. Um, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, just maybe my editing will let me put like a jalapeno pepper right here. I don't know. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can definitely Google. But I don't get it. Anyways, she's into it, whatever. Um, Joe ends up doing a body shot off of Elise. Fine. Then we see Rocky twerking. So then I'm thinking, okay, maybe Jalapeno Stick and Chantel would be a perfect match because she loves to twerk. He likes, how to twerk. So maybe they are a match made in heaven. Spoiler alert, they are not. Anyways, um, So the next day after Sexy Bingo, we see Rocky, Chantel, and Rob and Jen are going on their date. So they're kind of going to the same spot together. They're doing the same thing. They're going to be riding jet skis. After the jet skis, with Chantel and Rocky, they go by the bar and get some drinks. Like, I'm not gonna be talking about Rob and Jen. I personally, A, don't care. B, it was boring, so nothing to really say there. So when we see Chantel and Rocky go back to the bar, um, Chantel, honey, it's so awkward to say the least. They do get some drinks. She orders on Long Island. I don't remember what he ordered, but she then says, I want to pull out my list. What? I mean, I'm happy she didn't pull out like a literal piece of paper with a list or like what did that guy Lauren call it, the girlfriend test? At least it wasn't that. That was bad. But this is still she's pulling out her phone that she has this list. And she just starts asking these random questions. I guess to spark conversation. And I mean, it's awkward to see now. I'm trying to come about this in a sense that because again, I do listen to Reality Gaze. They recently did an interview with Chantel. It's on their YouTube. You can check it out if you are interested in seeing it. I do think it's will be released in audio, and I'm not sure. Um, but it was insightful to kind of hear what she had to say about it. So I'm not gonna speak on that in that sense, but just in the moment, it was just uh awkward to say the least. It was just awkward. So she starts like asking him if you could visit any place in the world, where would that be? I can't remember what he said, but he answered the question. Okay, he did do that. Then she asks another question, like, what is your favorite childhood memory? And again, these aren't bad questions if you come to them organically, but they're weird to ask because you just have a list of them. It feels like she went on Google and got a list of questions to like break the ice or conversation starters. That's kind of what it feels like. And when I think you're getting to know someone initially and you're going on this date with somebody for the first time, you want to make a good impression as well. This isn't the time to be pulling out conversation starters. I think if you're actually in a relationship with somebody, you're a little more comfortable with that person, you know their ins and outs, you know their quirks, you know all of that. Then maybe, yeah, you can pull out these kind of conversation starter type questions to, feel like you know a person, but you want to learn more. That I think is okay, but not when you're on a first date with somebody, trying to make a good impression on that person. Um, And vice versa. Like, yeah, it wasn't a good choice, and you can tell it wasn't a good choice because he literally asked her, like, "What's up with this list?" You know what I mean? And he kind of in, like and in the moment basically says, it feels like it's a safety blanket for her, um, when, like yeah, anyway. Um She says that she brought up the list, like, when he kinda asked her what's up with this list, because it helps her stay focused and ask questions. Um, again, I do think he's right on the fact that it's a safety blanket. I feel like this is something that she started doing after her divorce. I don't think this was something that she was doing as a young woman, and, when she first met Pedro or anything like that, or even, like, you know even in the beginning of her dating post-divorce. I think that's something that she's acquired over time because she thinks that she needs to. And I mean, though I understand it, um, it's just not, it's daunting and surprising to see a person pull out their phone and start asking you like 20 questions. It's interesting. Anyway, hi everyone. So I have a new product for you to go take a look at. This is with Pink Salt Wall. So they're a source of pure Himalayan salt. I think we all kind of, have our salt lamps and everything, which I do have. But with them, they offer high quality Himalayan pink salt products that can enhance your environment and help with respiratory and skin issues. Their collection includes Himalayan salt bricks, tiles, building blocks, licking salt blocks for your animals. That sounds interesting. Salt lamps and cooking plates and much more. All their products are shipped directly from their factory in Pakistan and are available locally through their warehouse in Maryland, United States. So, yeah, if you're interested in taking part in that, you can go down to the show notes where you'll see a link to their website through me. So you're supporting them as well as supporting the podcast as well. So if you go to www.pinksaltwall.com/Tanika Thomas, that's all in caps, you can partake in these amazing products and again, support the podcast. Now it's enough of me. Let's head back to the podcast. Moving on. We then see Tim at May's house. He just kind of randomly goes to her place. And he's like, yeah, so, what'd you do today? Yeah, I had like this thing with the dating coach earlier. And we have some clarity. And we see a clip of it where basically the guy coach, whatever his name was again, I don't remember. When he basically is kind of like, you only have a few more days left here. Like, take the bull by the horns and go out there and ask someone on a date. God damn it. Because he hasn't had any luck. But so because he has now this new clarity that he didn't have before, he asks May out on a date. And I thought for sure she was going to say no. Because like I'm thinking she literally turned down Colty because he wasn't physically her type. She wants a man who is driven. She wanted a man who goes to the gym and all of this. That ain't Tim. He's driven, yes, but he's not a gym type. My guy looks like he has an iron deficiency. He doesn't have the strength to go into a gym and kind of come out looking like, I don't know, Jay or something, you know? So I was surprised based on what we know of her type, based on what she said to Colt, that I thought she was going to pick him or say yes to him. And maybe she's thinking, God damn, I only have a little bit of time left myself. Um, so, maybe I should just say yes. I don't know. But anyway, that's basically how that goes. Um, so then we see Carlo and Elise. I guess this would have been, I don't know if this was like after their date or if the date has even happened. I have no clue. But we see her say to him, so about last night, what the fuck happened last night? He's like, it all happened so fast. Yeah, so fast. What happened so fast? And then this girl, without even a thought in the world, I mean, we've all said this at some point to a man, but she says to him, you fucked me good. Whoa. You, wow. Um, see, okay, maybe I'm being mean. But when I look at Carlo, I don't think really good in bed, you know what I mean? He looks like a limp noodle, especially when he's reamed out by people. Can't wait to talk about it. Anyways, um, he's like, "Yeah, I'm happy it happened." Okay. But she's like, "I don't want to be in this, like, Rob, Cole, Jen mess." She doesn't wanna be in a triangle, fine. So she's like, "Where does that leave us?" But here's the thing, you have already entered into a triangle by inserting yourself into the triangle with knowing that Carlo and Tiffany have been a thing since basically day one. So you've already inserted yourself into the triangle. So don't pretend like you don't want to be in this mess, as she calls it, the Cole, Jen, Rob mess. You've already created it. It's happened. Buttercup, you know? Um, but when she asks him, like, where does this leave us? He says, I only want to be with one person. Yeah. So I think that has to be you because I like had sex with you. So it has to be you. Like, duh. Like, I haven't even had sex with her. So it can't be her. Again, it's like, is that how you really feel? Or is that what you think you have to do? Because when you sleep with a woman, you have to pick the one for whom has let you all up in that. I don't know. But he says that he's gonna go talk to Tiffany. And she's like, okay, so like you're gonna go talk to her and then you're gonna come back and fuck me? Sure. How does one answer that? No? Anyway, she's like, that's what I want. That's what we all want, really and truly. For the man that we have just had sex with, who you know is talking to another woman, all we want is for you to break it off with the woman that you've been vibing with for 2.5 weeks and then come back to me and like act like that never mattered. Like that's what we all want. Anyway, so with Tiffany, she's at her place. Courtney and Joe are also there as well. She's and again, kinda hearing her say throughout this episode that Carlo's my guy, Carlo's this, Carlo's that. She's kind of now planning on telling Carlo that she wants to be exclusive with him. She's actually invited him to her villa, in order to have this conversation with him. Little does she know. So we kinda before Carlo shows up, we're grilling Courtney about Usman and Colt, like, what decision are you making? And that kinda thing. So yeah, that's the gist of it. We don't need to rehash it because we're kinda gonna hear the same thing over and over and over again with Courtney. I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna leave it till the tell-all on how I feel about everything right now when it comes to Courtney. I ain't there yet, but we'll get to it. So, Carlo, we then see shows up to have this conversation that he's planning on having with Tiffany, although Tiffany is planning on having a different conversation. But anyways. And he's shitting a brick, an entire brick. Because when he walks in, he sees that there's Courtney, there's Joe, and he's like, I can't have this conversation. At least he's decent enough to kind of realize that I can't have this conversation when there's like people here. Like, I can't do this to her. Wait. Um, so he's like, I can't I can't do this in front of other people. And he says, like, I need a private moment with you. And of course, like she knows that this is like something's going on. He's not acting normal. Like what is the issue and all of that. So yeah, I mean, I guess we'll kind of see how that goes, but yeah, we'll see how that goes. But that is it, guys, for this episode. I can kind of see now that part of my background is just like showing itself, anyways. Um, but that's basically it for this episode. And it's actually episode 11. So yeah, that was basically it. So again, this is kind of going to be partially a norm now with doing videos. But yeah, that's it, guys. Um, Nothing more to say. But again, as mentioned, like this again, you're seeing this on Patreon first, and then we will be putting that onto um to YouTube, Spotify, whatever I can, so that you can partake in the videos there as well. But that is it, guys. That is it for this episode. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Realitea times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Realitea times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Realitea times 2 pod. We also have our email, which is at realitea times 2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there. And you can find me there at www.realitea times 2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Take Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks.